Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the His and Hers, The Truth podcast.
Yes.
And it is our Lounge Talk evening show. So welcome.
Welcome to our lounge.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys been liking the new set.
Yes.
Obviously trying to get you guys in the mood for like an evening talk show. This is the show where we're going to have more controversial reactions, more controversial topics.
Yep.
Hopefully have some guests here soon that we have in plans, honey, that we're in the plans to work it out. And obviously have some debate as well on this show. Yeah, and hopefully bring you guys some guests that of the female ethnicity and obviously Asian ethnicity, I mean. And, talk about things on the show, okay? But, guys, before we get into all of that, right, subscribe to the channel, right? You shadow watchers out there, right? Watching in the morning, in the evening, and the daytime show, right? Subscribe to the channel, right? Subscriptions are free, right? If you guys have shared the truth, shared our content, debunked the lies out there already, subscribe.
Show us some love, guys. Show us some love.
Yeah. Push this algorithm out there because, as you guys know, the truth is always getting suppressed by the Matrix, right? And all the different versions of the Matrix, okay?
True.
Smash that like button. Turn on the notification bell,
Ding.
right? And comment. And, of course, share, right? Check out our comments videos that we just posted recently, or right, guys? We love every comment, positive, negative, or suggestions, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up, right, is because we're going to be doing a reactionary video tonight for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it, okay? It is going to be a reaction video that was suggested to us by one of our viewers and that commented. So, yeah, we see your guys' comments out there.
Yes, we do.
So we appreciate it. It was from Problematic.
Shout out to you.
So shout out to Problematic for suggesting this video to react to. And it is the Tucker Talks to Mr. Andrew Tate.
Yes.
The toxic masculinity himself. Top G, right?
Yeah.
And it was on Tucker's Fox News show. Okay? All right, so let's begin.
Months ago, we never heard of him. And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence, but also his ability to conduct business on the internet. He was taken off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Then they started telling you that not only was he not allowed to talk, but that you weren't allowed to like him because he was an incredibly bad person. And our view on that always is we'll decide for ourselves since we're adults and Americans, and we'll listen to anyone we want, and we'll come to any conclusion we care to come to about what that person is about. So we sat down at some length and talked to Andrew Tate, and we wanted to show you some of it so you could make up your own mind, which you're still allowed to do as far as we're concerned. Here's part of the interview.
I don't really feel like I've exposed anything.
So real quick, I just wanted to say something before we get into the video. So you notice how Mr. Tate said that he said that no one knew about Tate, like or no one heard of him. And then all of a sudden, in a mad rush, all these social media websites banned him. So guys, real quick, there's some truth to that statement, although there's also some false to that statement, right? At one point in time, Mr. Tate was the most Google searched individual in the planet, right? More than Trump, more than freaking the Kardashians, more than Kanye, whoever. He beat them by like a mile. Like it wasn't even a close thing. So what that tells me is that because the way he was pushing out all his content, because I remember he was having all these videos just being pushed out on the social media platforms. He did such a good job of pushing his content out there that he was being searched as the #1 person, right? But that also tells you guys the flip side. All the mainstream medias was not pushing his content, right? And so that's what Tucker Carlson, unfortunately or fortunately, revealed to us. Is even though Mr. Tate was this well-known individual to all of us, because the mainstream media wasn't pushing his content out there, they were trying to suppress him already. They were not. So think about it. If you're the most searched person, if you're the news, supposedly you're an objective news platform, wouldn't you be trying to find out, whoa, who is this person that everyone is Google searching?
Nope, but they're not.
But instead, they're suppressing. So it tells you right there, guys, another clue that the mainstream news and the mainstream media is not objective, okay? And then also, it tells you guys why there are still people out there be like, well, we've never heard of Mr. Tate. Why? Because all they digest, all they consume is mainstream media news. They are so a part of the matrix right now. They're so plugged up to the matrix that they don't hear anything else. Okay? So I just wanted to state that.
I'm truly not a very political person. This is the first time someone's experienced this level of ban. I'm not particularly right-wing. I don't vote. I mean, I obviously have my own personal views, but they didn't ban me for that. They banned me simply because I had large swaths of the population agreeing to very traditional masculine values. Teenage men and young men, 22, 23, 24, were looking up to me and aspiring to be like me. I have a very traditionally masculine life. I have fast cars and a big house and a lot of money and a beautiful girlfriend. And they thought this was very, very threatening. And for some reason, they decided that it's better if they annihilate me from the internet and replace me with somebody who's more aligned with whatever they're trying to purport.
Tell us what your message is to young men.
Yeah, so I think that being a man is very, very difficult. I think that men's issues are largely overlooked. The people in charge of the world pretend to care, but when somebody who's championing men's issues like myself comes forward and finally manages to garner huge percentiles of the public support, I'm silenced. So they're not really interested in men's issues. And there's a lot of young men growing up today that feel very disaffected. They feel invisible. The agendas that are being forced down their throats are not agendas they align with or they feel affinity to or agendas they want. And I basically just say to men, look, it's a very hard life. You're going to need to get up, work hard, go to the gym. Strong body is a strong mind. You're going to have to reject listening blindly to everything you're told, reject the slave mind, think for yourself, get a strong network of brothers, work aside them. Don't tolerate low-quality people in your life, which means don't tolerate men who just smoke drugs and play video games, or men who are disloyal or dishonest. By extension, don't tolerate women or girlfriends who are disloyal or dishonest, and try and build and create a reality full of high-quality people in which you can resist the programming that the Matrix tries to influence you with, and grow up truly happy. And what happens is when I say these things, they ignore 95% of what I say. They ignore me saying that you need to avoid low-quality men.
Yeah, because obviously it's kind of he said a lot of truth there, but there's a couple key things that I wanted to take apart first. Okay, so he mentioned that the people in power. Okay, and I want to clarify that for our viewers out there, honey, and everyone that obviously watches Mr. Tate, watches the RP channels and that type of stuff.
What people are in power is. So we
yeah, exactly, right. We always think that there's this entity of people that are in power. Okay. And in some context, that is correct, right? They have the influence, they have the money, right? But what they are just pawns of the system. That's what I told you guys. It's more about this ideology. It's more about this social construct of the Matrix. So, like, once again, I repeat myself. They're like the agents of the Matrix, right? Or the programs of the Matrix, right? They can be defeated.
Yes,
they can be changed because the Matrix can be changed. The Matrix can be defeated, right? As long as you know the truth and you know how the Matrix works, right? Just like the movie said, the Matrix, the reason why we, the people that understand the truth, right? Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, we are outside of the Matrix, right? As long as you guys get that, and you can alter your reality, right? Just like the movie said, right? Because the Matrix, those people, they adhere to a system. They're constricted by rules. And they believe in those rules so much that they're not going to change, right? Whereas we can live outside of that. Okay, so that's one, right? So just focus on that fact it's an ideology. Don't focus on like, oh, man, there's these people, man, they're always going to stop me. No, you can change it, okay? All right? The second thing is men, okay? We are the gender that can change, right? And the reason for that, once again, is because we have the fitness value to kill, to alter our actual reality, right? It's up to us. And this is, once again, this is a responsibility and accountability on us. As much as we want to live in this day and age now where they're pushing that men and women are both, equal and whatever, right? It's not, right? The reason why men's mental health issues They don't give a damn about us, like Mr. Andrew Tate's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're always trying to suppress men, is because it's our values that can actually change the matrix.
Yep.
It could fight back against the matrix.
Because you guys are stronger. You know,
Correct.
you guys are way stronger. You can take a man to try to move a rock, and then you try to take a woman. Well, guess what? Depending, most of the time, the men, I would say 80+%. It's always the men that can move things that are heavy.
Yeah.
If you see the things that are being built, our safe streets, our buildings, our
Mm-hmm.
roads, mainly, it's
Yeah.
96%
but-
men doing it.
But it's mainly the fact that we can
'Cause you're
stand
strong.
behind our
Mhm.
ideology and kill this other person. And I
Yep.
want to focus on that real quick before we move on to the rest of the channel, the video, guys. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Is because we have to make sure that we don't fall too far back to the other side. Okay, with this responsibility comes accountability, right? With great power comes responsibility, right?
True.
So as much as I agree with Mr. Tate and the fact that, hey, become empowered, gain your values as a man, right?
Yep.
But also be aware that there's gotta still be this moral context, right? As much as we want to fight the matrix and destroy the matrix, we don't want to go back to where it's just
No.
these powerful men that will rule or shape the world.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You don't
Yeah.
want that, because otherwise we're going to go back to the whole killing and, lion analogy. Okay,
we don't want
guys?
to be that way.
Okay.
And they take the bit where I say avoid women who are dishonest, and then they put it on a reel, a very short 3 or 4 second clip, and then they say I'm a misogynistic person and I'm dangerous to women and I need to be banned. The problem is that the majority of young men in the world today are completely invisible, and social media has made them invisible. If you go into an Instagram feed, you have extremely beautiful women, which is fine. They're beautiful. They're allowed to take pictures. But the only men who have followers are men with massive social status, right? Men with Ferraris and money, or rappers, or people who have YouTube channels, interesting people. If you're a normal man with a normal job, you don't really exist in the online world. It's very difficult to get followers. Nobody replies to your DMs. You don't really matter. You don't have access to the sexual marketplace. It's very difficult for you to even get any kind of recognition that you're even alive. And a lot of men feel lost and lonely because of that. And I was championing, to a degree, their issues by saying to them, look, that is unfair perhaps, but that's the way the game works. You need to become a man of importance. You need to become a man of influence, or you're going to suffer the pain of being invisible forever. Here is how you do it. I wasn't trying to change the rules of the game. I was just telling the men how to win, because I came from nothing and I'm completely and utterly self-made. And I think the reason a lot of men are so depressed is because they feel invisible. They feel like the life is too hard. Women expect me to be strong and smart and funny and interesting with a nice apartment and a fast car and tall and well-connected and funny. And it's just too much for them to handle. And the social pressure on men is absolutely immense. And I was championing their issues. And at the same time, all these social media platforms pretend to care. As soon as somebody they resonate with stands up and champions their issues, they mass blanket ban me, which shows they have absolutely no care for the young men of the world today. They think that by banning me, I'm just going to vanish, and the young...
Yep.
Yeah, so this is something that, unfortunately, the truth doesn't have an answer to. And let me clarify this for you guys, what I mean. Meaning that the truth, having your biological kids and giving the best outcome for them still requires you to be a high value man, right? That means that to get the best outcome, you have to get your values high. So I get it. There's a lot of guys out there that's like, oh man, we live in such a hypergamous state, and women want this, and now it's even more blown out of proportion because of social media. I get it, guys. It's exponentially gotten worse. But what I'm trying to tell you is it's not going to change. It's not going to go back, because even if we didn't have social media, women still want the top percentage of men. Now, the difference might be is that, unfortunately, now with social media, we've focused because now they have access to all the men in the world per se, right?
Yep.
So instead of being the top tier men in your local community,
Oh, they're getting
right?
different countries.
They don't
maybe,
care about
or
the guys in the
states.
local community.
Yeah.
Now they can have a celebrity in a different state, in
Yep.
a different country,
Yep.
right? In a different whatever. So I get that aspect. It's so what I'm trying to say is effectively women, you guys have unfortunately believed this feminism lie, and now it's literally even shrank your pool of men even more because of your hypergamous nature.
Yep.
So yes, I believe the truth will come and help all of us, right? By at least pinpointing like what you need to do, and of course realizing where you are within that truth,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I will warn you guys out there who think that the truth will set all of us,
Free
like
or
meaning that some low value dude is gonna have a chance with a girl.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't gonna be that way. Believe when Mr. Tate says that the game is the game, it's not going to change. Women are still going to be hypergamous by nature, and the reason for that is because that gives the best outcome for the truth. Okay, you want to add anything to that, honey?
No, I agree. I mean, you have to up your game. I mean, think about it. If you're going to have, which is the truth in our channel, for a man and woman, you got to, you have to up your values. Like for a man, you got to, work out, be healthy, all that stuff, and up your finance.
The
all that
only
stuff,
thing I'm hoping is that
So-
by us, my wife and I, in this channel, exposing the truth to everyone, man and woman,
Yep.
is that I'm hoping that the women become less delusional and be more realistic about where their values are in the truth.
Yeah.
Right? How many times we hear it on these channels all the time? Oh, we're a 10, we're an 11, we're 100, right? Like,
Nope.
it's not realistic. So if we can get at least the women, all you ladies out there, to realize that, hey, your value is what your value is. And can you work on it? Sure.
Yeah.
But be realistic about that value so that way now you appreciate a man who might be on your value level.
Yeah.
Okay?
That appreciates you and actually cares and loves you instead of you gonna later on,
Yeah. So
down
you're
low.
not always looking for this top 10% of guys, right?
Here we go.
Okay.
Men are just going to go and start eating the gruel that they're fed on their YouTube feed. They don't want to read. They don't want to see transgender people wear makeup. They don't want to see that. They want to see a man who has a bunch of money and a nice life and some fast cars and is strong and is confident. They want an action hero, and that's something that large portions of the world still want to be. And YouTube and social media platforms obviously just don't like the idea of that. They want to get rid of me and try and replace me with something they see as far more malleable, trying to create people which are more malleable and more easy to program and more easy to control.
So news accounts in the United States say that the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, Romania, was tipped off to your misdeeds and alerted the local authorities you might be committing human trafficking. Given that this is the same charge they leveled against Julian Assange or a species of it, skeptical, but I want to know the details. Were you arrested for human trafficking? What happened?
Yeah, I was not arrested. So what happened is I suffered from a case of swatting. It's very popular with people who are large on the internet. Many large YouTubers have been swatted. It's where you call the police and you say somebody has a gun or there's a hostage situation and the SWAT team arrives. Somebody made a phone call to the American Embassy saying that I was holding women at my house. The police arrived. And let me state this now. I state this openly to the world. I have absolute respect for the police. I would hate to live in a country where if you call the police saying women are being held against their will, that the police don't respond. That would be terrible. Of course they should come and look. Absolutely. They turned up. They investigated. They realized that nobody was in the house against their will. There was no crime committed. They said, okay, you're not a suspect, but you are a witness to this, along with me, my brother, the housekeeper, the gardener. Everybody who was in the premises at the time was labeled a witness. We had to go to the police station for 45 minutes for pieces of paper. We filled them in and we were let go. I was swatted. Nobody was hurt. There's no human trafficking. There's no women who were tied up. There's none of these things. It's all just complete fallacy.
You probably made some of these companies mad with your views on code.
Okay, guys. So real quick, honey, I'll go the context of that swatting situation
Yeah, I
real quick.
remember.
But a couple of things I want to note. First off, how good of an interviewer is Mr. Carlson versus the trash interviewer Pierce Morgan,
Better.
right? Like This like you can see that Tucker is
difference.
not biased, right? He didn't like add to what Mr. Tate was
No.
saying. It's like, oh my God, I agree with you. He
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Nope.
He just asked very pertinent questions and very obviously questions that were like, hey, this could be controversial. But he allowed his guests, he allowed his interviewee to answer the question. Right, and then let everyone else out there, the viewers,
Make
up your own mind, right?
Yep.
So I want to say that first and foremost, okay?
So,
Now let's talk about that situation, the swatting situation, guys. It's been documented, although Mr. Tate's videos are banned, right?
yeah.
But he's documented this many times. So what happened, and the reason why I want to bring it up is it's very important to you guys out there,
To know
right?
it.
Who isn't maybe of Mr. Tate status, right? So in essence, what happened was he got simped. Okay, so a girl
Yep.
that had obviously gone to their place of
Or-
free will,
Yep.
right? I think she actually hit Tristan up, right, and asked to go to their place,
Yep.
right? And so, of course, he said, yeah, go ahead and come over, right? Right? So she wasn't coerced, she wasn't forced, anything like that, right? Well, she unfortunately got caught at their place with her man, right? Because I guess something about they caught her on camera or something like that when the pizza guy showed up, and it caught that she was at their place.
Yeah.
And so her man, this simp,
Yep.
right, called her up and said, hey, what are you doing there? And of course, she got caught. So instead of saying that, hey, I wanted to hang out with the Tates and, I like Tristan and I wanted to get with him, instead of saying the truth,
Yep.
of course, she said, oh, no, I'm here and I'm against my will, right? I was forced to stay here, right?
Yeah.
Right? And of course, this simp,
Yep.
I'm going to keep saying it, so hopefully, I'm sorry if we get canceled on this video, but he was the one that did the swatting.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to tell you guys, what I'm trying my brothers out there, right? This is the reason why you gotta stay away from dudes that are simps and dudes that are not good with women. There's a reason why it's a lonely road. We talk about it all the time as men, right? Whether we want to become a successful, high-value man, it's a lonely road. But it also has to do with females, right? Being successful with women, right? If you guys are on the same, like if you have a core group of men, like Mr. Tate was alluding to, that supported each other and are brothers, right? Real, true brothers, right?
Bring each other up. Instead of
Correct.
putting each other down.
And you guys understand like the nature of what the game is, right? You wouldn't do that. You say, okay, cool. She likes you, man. Go ahead, do all that, right? Like that's you, right? You would want to see your brother successful.
You wouldn't want that kind of woman anyways. Trust me.
Correct.
She will not be with you for a while. She's going to be looking around. Why would you want a hoe anyways?
Yeah,
So
but
there
see,
you
this
go.
is the liability of why we talk
Yeah.
about not wanting to be having females as friends, right? Why you don't want a female friend, but at the same time, you also don't want a dude that's a simp, that's a sucker for a female as
Don't
well
want
too.
that either.
Okay.
COVID. So sum up for us, if you would, what you think the response to COVID globally did to the populations of the West.
Yeah, so I certainly made them mad with my views on COVID. I don't want to go to conspiracy theory, and I would also never kill myself. Let me just say that here for the record. But at the time of COVID first being announced, my brother and I decided we sat and had a very logical conversation, and we sat and said, we're two young fighting age males. If COVID can kill us, then the world is over. It's zombie apocalypse time. So there's no point hiding. We may as well go out with a bang. So my brother and I flew to Stockholm, Sweden. Now, I don't know if many people know this, but Sweden never closed down. Stockholm and Sweden never closed down, never made you wear masks, never mandated the vaccine. At the very beginning of COVID, when the rules were strictest, when Florida was still closed, when Miami was still closed, when the Republican states were still closed, Stockholm, Sweden was wide open with full nightclubs and a party scene like you've never seen. And we lived in Sweden for 3 solid months with zero restrictions, zero worry or interest in COVID. It was like the world was completely normal. And from there, when we left, obviously COVID was still going on. And in a neighboring country, you go to Germany, and they were having full panic attacks, genuine panic attacks if you didn't have a mask on. And it was just very obvious to me. I was like, I've spent the last 3 months ignoring this and I'm fine. And now I'm in Germany surrounded by panic attacks and endless mass. This doesn't make sense. And I told the truth on social media. I said, this is obviously an overreaction. The decimation of your income, the fact you can't go get a doctor's appointment for a genuine ailment or a genuine risk of cancer, for example, the fact that you can't see your loved ones in their final days, these things are far more destructive than the common cold. I think that what they're doing is unfair. I think it's a massive overreaction. And this is based on my personal experience. And I think at the time there was a lot of pushback, but I would like to think now that 99% of the world see I was totally right. You know, it's kind of funny, Tucker. I'll tell you, when at the height of COVID, I used to say to my brother, how will people struggle with the cognitive dissonance when this is all over? Because COVID is still out there. Nothing's gone away. The thing that we were all hiding from is still right there, out there to get you. But now everyone walks around and they're not scared of it anymore. And I'm like, are people critical enough to analyze themselves and say, for a year of my life, I was deathly afraid of something. Now I'm exposing myself to said thing and I'm not afraid anymore. The media tricked me and I was a fool. But they're not. They don't even seem to self-analyze and go, I got tricked. They're just like, oh, okay, next thing. Hey, Andrew now. Like robots. It's mind-bending to me, truly.
So I saw you compare the experience.
So I had, just to let you guys know, I had a very similar experience with Mr. Andrew Tate in terms of the whole COVID thing. Like, I never got COVID, at least as far as I know.
Yep.
You know, I felt a little sick here and there, but when I got tested, I was negative, right? And during that whole time, too, like, I didn't care about a mask. You know, I was in an industry where all my industries were considered essential after that first 3-month lockdown. So I was going about, dude, it was great. I was traveling, you know, throughout our city because, you know, there was no traffic. I was able to go everywhere, free Scott. Now, of course, you know, if I went into certain places and of course they require masks, I was courteous. I said, hey, this is your business. It's your choice to enforce it the way you want to enforce it. I'll wear a mask. If I choose not to shop there or go there, then I won't go there, right?
Respect you.
But my point is, but I agree with Mr. Tate is that, you know, my grandma, she passed away during that time and we were unable to see her because of COVID.
It wasn't due to COVID.
No, but that's my point. Like,
but
yeah, all the people that like lost their jobs, reduced their incomes, couldn't see their loved ones passed away because of this, you know, I think stupid thing. So I fully agree with Mr. Tate. Now I get it. There's some people out there that experience the difference, but I'm telling you, as a general whole, as a majority, I think the majority of us can agree with Mr. Tate in terms of what they experience. Now, I want to say something real quick, honey, but I'll let you add to that if you want to. So what do you want to do?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a thing that always kind of, I guess, you know, always racks my brain and kind of boggles my brain that unfortunately that the majority of us, I don't want to say it this way, guys, but unfortunately the majority of us requires the Matrix, or I guess needs the Matrix.
Yep.
And I don't want to say that because I think we can survive without the Matrix, okay? But this is the problem. The majority of us don't have the fortitude, the skill, the self-thinking, all those things that Mr. Tate said there at the end there is like, why are people like, now that the vaccine, now that COVID is still here with us, but now you're no longer afraid, right? You all got supposedly vaccinated by scared, and now you're not scared about it anymore, right?
It's still around, people.
So I equate that to the same thing with the Matrix. And like, I've been trying to rack my brain that it's like, I know the truth will set us all free, right? Neo, Morpheus, we will all set you free if you guys believe in the truth. But right now, it's like the majority of you guys are literally just freaking slaves to this Matrix.
Open your eyes.
And what did the characters of the Matrix said in the first video, Honey Bun? Remember, they said, guys, and this is a warning to you guys, so I'll end it on this. But remember, everyone that is still plugged into the Matrix is still an agent of the Matrix, unfortunately. At any moment in time, an agent can take over their body, and then you'll still be an enemy to the people that know the truth.
You're just the robot.
And so we see that right now, right? All these people that unfortunately still believe this social construct will still fight tooth and nail against people like Mr. Tate, like myself, right? And still argue with us. So It is what it is.
Yep.
Of rich people under COVID, you're one of them, to everybody else. What did you notice about that? It seemed like a two-tiered response.
Yeah, so the story was very simple. I was flying inside of Europe. There's a lot of low-cost air carriers. It's only low cost primarily. There's not much first class, business class, anything like that. And I was flying, and my experience was plagued by endless paperwork, wearing a mask, put the mask over your nose. Every time you eat, you have to put the mask on in between. I got told off for not having the mask up high enough. I got told off for drinking too long because my mask wasn't on. Pure panic and chaos. And because I'm fortunate enough to be fiscally secure, from there I decided I'll just buy private jets from now on. And when I bought a private jet, there was no masks, no paperwork, no mask at the airport. When I landed, my air stewardess was not wearing a mask. My pilot was not wearing a mask. COVID didn't exist once I bought a private jet. Very interesting. Maybe if you're rich enough, COVID can't take, maybe COVID's scared of money. I'm not sure. But it seems that everyone who's flying on private jets never had to worry about COVID ever. It's just the people at the bottom who had to worry about COVID. And it's kind of interesting, right? Life's always been two-tiered. There's always been this separation in regards to fiscal access. But I think a lot of people in the world today don't realize that it still very much exists. And a lot of the rules are only the rules for a certain class of people. And once you pass a certain wealth index or a certain level of money, that you can do basically whatever you want. And COVID really highlighted that to me. And it's truly sad. I mean, it's easy for me to make a joke of it, but when I would fly on a private jet and do whatever I wanted, or go to Sweden and party in nightclubs and do whatever I wanted, and then I'd come to, let's say, England and see my friend who couldn't go see his dying grandmother because of a COVID restriction, that's truly sad. That's truly criminal. It's really crazy what's happened and how the world's just moved on, and the cognitive dissonance that people don't have enough respect for themselves and for the truth to analyze how they were so easily fooled. It's really sad to even think about, but maybe that was the beginning of me being disliked, by just pointing out my human experiences during the pandemic. But I want to tell you something that's actually kind of scary about this banning. It all came so hard and so...
Yeah, so,
It's true.
Yeah, just going back, guys, what I just, he just validated what I just said, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the majority of us out there needs the Matrix, and it's just a mindset. It's just opening your eyes, right? Wake up to the truth, right? And not being freaking fooled and indoctrinated by this social construct, this freaking false ideology.
Well, and it's true. Like, think about it. What he said is the truth. I believe in it. You don't see the same rules or laws apply to people with money. And it's the truth. It is the truth. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. People can be buying up a whole place, whatever else. But, we have to go through all the hurdles, and they just slip through the cracks. And here you go. Shake hands. I got that place for you.
But
that's how it is in reality of life.
But don't look at it as a negative thing.
No, it isn't.
It's a crabs in the bucket mentality when you have that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Of like, oh my God, these rich people are living outside. This. No, it's because you don't want to live outside like they can. You guys can do it. Right? But like I said, it's a mindset. You got to change that mindset. So just,
Well, with their mindset, it's even if you have money or not, but it's the way they think.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't give a rat's ass what you guys want to believe, but I'm going to go do what I need to do.
Notice this. There's
Mm-hmm.
another great video, guys. I don't know the exact video, but go check it out, where Mr. Tate talks about like his brother and him had a choice. They either can be completely broke and living off the grid, right? Or become as wealthy as possible, or at least, try to attempt as wealthy as possible. Because both situations give you freedom, right? Because if you're broke as a joke and no one cares about you, and you're living out in the middle of nowhere without any natural,
That's still freedom.
right? Yeah, it was just living out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
No one cares
care.
about you. No one cares if you wear a mask out in the middle of the
You're
damn
free.
woods, right? No one's gonna tell you to get vaccinated if you're living out in the middle of the jungle somewhere.
True.
Right? So think that just let that absorb for you for a second. Notice how that you can be completely dead broke or you can be completely rich, and you both have the same situation. Just
You're both
don't
free.
put yourself in the matrix. That's the whole key, right?
Yep.
Anyways.
True that.
So fast that I don't know if they all just follow each other. I don't know if they're all influenced by each other. I don't know if there's someone above them all. I don't know. But when they go to cancel you, ladies and gentlemen, it comes hard and fast. You lose your Facebook, then your Instagram, then your Gmail, then your Discord, then your website hosting, then your domain name, then your payment processor, then your bank. Then it's just like in real time, you're watching your phone and apps just exploding. Boom, boom, boom. It's crazy.
Andrew Tate, you don't have to agree with everything a man says to believe he has a right to speak in public. And we do believe that. No one gets to tell you who you can watch. No one gets to tell you what you have to think. No one gets to tell you who you have to hate. You're an American and an adult. You can make those decisions yourself.
True.
So why don't they want you to hear from Andrew Tate? They really think he's a worse influence on the youth than, say, Cardi B. Tell us how. They're telling us he's a criminal. Okay. Has he been charged? Who are the victims? What are their names? It's going to take a lot more than that to have us believe he should be canceled, or anyone else, by the way. We're against censorship, period. And more than anything, we're in favor of people making up their own minds based on the evidence, like adults do. So if you're interested, you can watch the full unedited interview with Andrew Tate after the show on Fox Nation.
All right.
I like him.
That was the end of the
Of course,
video,
Tate's not the only
guys.
person who's being
Some closing thoughts, honey? I'll let
Yeah.
you start before I go.
I definitely agree with him. You know, you're a grown ass person. If you live in the US, you do have your rights. Okay? Make up your own mind. You know, watch things, open up your eyes, open up your hearts, whatever else, and see for the truth. See the truth for yourself. Don't listen to other people's opinions and all that stuff. If you believe in it, you know, you have to know what's right and wrong. You know what I mean? So make up your own mind, make up your own decisions, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
You know?
I well, first off, just shout out again to Mr.
Yeah,
Carlson
I
again
like
for
him.
being a great interviewer. And then second, just that last statement is
Mm-hmm.
very powerful, because we live in a day and age now where there are things that are getting canceled that
Mm-hmm.
seems justified. And just, I don't have to tell you guys the specifics, but
You see it.
there's ideology out there that is hateful. There's
Mm-hmm.
ideology out there that may be very not politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
There's ideologies out there that maybe you just disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a very a huge contention with suppressing any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that, guys, is that we go down this slippery slope of then what is allowed,
Mm-hmm.
what ideology is allowed.
Yep.
Right? It starts out with racism. Sure, that sounds like a great thing to ban. Like, we all in agreement that no one should be a racist, no one should be oppressed because of just their ethnicity, right?
Yeah.
But then it starts getting, like I said, down a very slippery road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Okay, well, now because I believe that a man is a man or a woman is a woman,
Or itchy, whatever
right?
else now.
Now that I believe in these truths,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it can be hateful.
Yeah.
It can be, unfortunately, maybe bigoted is the key word they always try to use against this group of people, right?
Yeah.
Now those people need to be canceled,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I'm trying to say. The more and more that you guys continue wanting to give your freedoms away, the more and more the system will gladly take it from you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It only wants power. It only wants to consume power.
And what is power, we say, honey? Power equals more money for them. Okay, not for you guys. You guys will be controlled. You guys will be looking up to them, say, hey, you know what? Just do my thing. Just feed me. Just open your mouth. Just feed me. But do you want that? You can't make a choice of what you want to eat, where you want to go, how to dress, how to talk. You can't. Because you know what? You don't got a voice no more. And that they're going to be your voice. Do you want to be a dummy? Just be a walking dummy then.
Yeah. And what does
There
it
you
all
go.
come back to, guys? That our channel always talks about, right? It's controlling of the truth, right? Because if you can't say what you need to say, then you can't do what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to be able to go gather the values that's going to give you the best outcome for the truth, right? So anytime that you're going to start potentially gaining these values, they're going to be, oh, well, you can't say that. You can't do that.
Your lifeless
Right.
soul.
Right. And so that's what it always comes back down to, guys. That's ultimately the power. Let me like say it in a very like so creates a philosophical right. He who controls the truth has the power. Okay. So that's what I'm going to end it on with, guys. So just like, you know, a very cautionary tale of just making sure that you guys don't allow yourself to be fooled by the Matrix. But guys, thank you so much for joining us, right, on another Lounge Talk reactionary video. Thank you to Problematic for suggesting this video. I think it was a great one. I haven't seen it yet, so thank you for that. And we'll catch you guys the next time.
Bye.
Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.